Here's how to grow your business profitably with AI-powered marketing engines. Hi, my name is Bellmann, and in this part of a series, I will show you what the first and most important step is to make the first dollar, then to crack 6 figures, 7 figures, and then 8 figures profitably. And with that, I generated more than 60. Okay, it says 50, but it's now 60. All right, let's say 50, but it's 60. You know it, right? So here's how I generated more than $50 million on social media without showing my face. Before I show the exact steps, here's some more proof. We have nearly 1,700 4.5 star reviews on Trustpilot. We are one of the fastest growing companies in the US and made it on the Inc. 5000. And my co-founder got named Forbes 30 under 30. I did not because I'm too fucking old. Okay. That's the story of my life. We are also the #1 mobile app builder for the creator economy, and we make more than 60% of all revenue in the US with thousands of customers and millions of users without me even being in the US. Awesome. So let's look at what's behind these awards and how you can do the same. Let's go. So how to grow to $10 million profitably with AI-powered marketing engine. So this here's a Figma or FigJam. Fine. We start here where it says start here, and then from there we will go all the way through all the different steps that you need to do to in the end build first the growth engine, then to hit 100K a month, then to have an attention engine that you get all the eyeballs out there, which is hard when everyone is competing for attention, then how to scale this thing up to 8 figures profitably with a funnel that makes sense for you. And then in the end, put the operations in place so that you don't have to hire hundreds of people and that you can work on the business, not in the business. And with that, you will hit 8 figures in revenue profitably and you will have $100 million enterprise value. You can sell the company and live the good life on Jamaica. Okay, Jamaica, I don't know. Jamaica is actually pretty nice. You can also go to Argentina or Mauritius, Maldives. If you don't like the warmth, you can also go to Scandinavia or just come to Europe. Just live in Europe. Europe is amazing. Awesome. Good. So let's go. That's the map how you get to Europe profitably. Let's say this. That's how you make your dreams a reality. Okay? Whatever you want to buy with it. You can also just donate the whole money to charity. That's fine. Do it the Bill Gates way. I love that. Please. Okay, so here's where you start. I will also share the biggest green flags and the biggest red flags so that when you are on this journey, as I was a couple of years ago, you're not making the same mistakes and you can do everything so much faster. 4 containers. Container 1, it's the core. Container 2, the marketing engines. Container 3, the scaling engines. Container 4, the performance engines. And every container is structured in these 3 sections. So what are the core questions that you need to ask yourself? What are the key actions that you need to do in order to succeed? And what are the key tools that you should use to make your life so much easier? And then I have this litmus test here in the end, this question where you should then have, for example, clients, you should have achieved something. If not, you have not graduated from this container and you should go back to square one and do the whole thing again. Because the biggest mistake is that you already think you have a great offer, that everything is great because you love your product. You spend years on it. The answer is it's not what your customer or ideal client thinks. That's why they buy with your competitors right now. That's the truth. So the mistake is, hey, I have a great offer. I don't need this. I go straight to marketing. Let's post some content. Content is the thing. If I post content, then everything will be great. That's the missing piece. Once I have posted content, I will make gazillions. Problem is no one engages with your content and you offer a shit. No one will buy in the end. It's not going to work. Okay, good. Perfect. Let's just dive in. Who is your ideal customer? That's the first big pillar. And the questions that you should ask yourself is, who are your ideal 100 clients? And to double click on that, it is really important that you disqualify everyone else. Big mistake is you want to sell to everyone, right? Everyone that would be down to wire you money, perfect. That's such a mistake. It will not work for a couple of reasons. One is they will become unhappy and leave in the end. They will talk bad about you. You hate working with them. It's just a shit show. So yes, they bought, you convinced them, but it's a shit show. So work backwards. Who are your ideal clients that you want to serve? A little hint here. If they are affluent, meaning they have money, that's good because they can invest that money and they don't have to go into debt. So you know the saying, go where the money is. Okay? What are their challenges? What are their goals? And who do they trust? These are 3 more key questions. So what's your action? You do 25 true path interviews. If you are one of the people I work with, you know what a true path interview is. Simply speaking, you do something which was invented by Teresa or Rebecca Torres. I always mess up her name. Continuous discovery habits. is you really figure out what is going on your customer side by asking them what really happened, not what they think. If you're interested, I can share playbooks, interview playbooks, templates, Figma for how to do these interviews, what to talk about, how to systemize it, how to identify the ideal clients, how to map their experiences, if they're good, bad, and how to derive a problem tree, I call it. And these are also the tools. The interview playbook, which helps you to not fuck up the interviews. Then the experience map, where you exactly see what's really happening and what works and what doesn't. There's always opportunities. You always think that I know everything is perfect, there's no space and nothing. I can tell you, even 50 years from now, it doesn't matter like what point in time, the moment when you go into customer interviews and talk to them, there is so much opportunity. It's ridiculous. It's rather a challenge to focus on the right thing than to be concerned that you might not find something because everything is perfect. They always say it's perfect when you ask them initially, but if you go deep with the right questions, even the big brands, small brands, doesn't matter. It's just a shit show. Okay, once you have identified who your ideal customers are, what their challenges are, their goals are, and who they trust, you have to create an identity which is magnetic to them. So that means that once they stumble upon you, let's say the hot blonde at the bar, okay, that's maybe not, what is it? That's maybe not LGBTQ conform, I don't care, but let's say this. Who do they find attractive? You want to be that person. So the question therefore is, what problem of all these problems that you found out from in speaking to them, what problem are you fixing? Where are you, based on your own story of the last decades, qualified to help them go from A to B? And what makes you trustworthy? What proves that you can do it, that you are the right person? Here's what most people think. They say, oh, I don't have any skill. I have never learned anything. I know everything a little bit, but I don't have a really specific skill. Well, that might be true, and you can build out that skill by literally doing a week of full steam, diving deep into the topic, and you will already be ahead of 99.99% of everyone else. You already actually have something inside you that you can share, but you have to unpeel that onion and figure out what did you complete over the last, since you were born, that actually would be of value for people. I mean, obviously, you couldn't talk, you couldn't walk, you couldn't survive, but today you can. So you achieved apparently something which you were not able 20 or 30, 40 years ago. Why am I making it so explicit? Because we all have our own story and we solved it already, and that makes it then authentic. Because if you're not aware of your own story, you will likely fix something which you have not done before. That makes it unauthentic, and then you feel like fluke or imposter. That won't happen if you unpeel your onion and you know what you stand for. What makes you trustworthy? Quite often your story. In my case, I made 8 figures profitably on social media without showing my face. Most people raise funds or not making money, and then the company failed. So I can share what I learned on that journey and how I did it. And I can show all these awards. Inc. 5000, 7, 8, 9-figure award. And then what makes you exciting? What makes you exciting is important because today people want to be entertained and people want to be sucked in. They want to binge watch you. They want to binge listen to you. They want to binge everything. Or let's say they're looking for someone that is binge-worthy, and you need to be that person. So if you're boring, it's not going to happen. Therefore, what are the key actions? You want to identify the supply-demand gap. Okay, that sounds very businessy. What you essentially do is you look at the problem tree that you have of all the problems, and so far you have not looked at any solutions. You have been very deep on the problem side, and you think, okay, with all these problems, what is something that I can serve them for? And you identify that, and you derive from there your unique value proposition that puts you in a category of one without any competition. That can be you as a person, as a coach, but it can also be your company. So you as a company, you never want to be in crazy competition, because if you're comparable, that means it's a race to the bottom and there's always a cheaper company out there, and then you will not make any money anymore. So what is it about you that makes you unique so that no one can get around you? I suggest to do a business ikigai. What's an ikigai? It's the Venn diagram of what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. And you do that for your business. And that in the end will keep you and will keep everyone in the team also excited to do this for the long run. Then you put everything together on the one-pager that makes you this unique person with this unique message that an affluent customer with really big problems will listen to, because that's how you derive that, right? Okay, good. Next one, irresistible offer. Question is, what offer, based on the problems that they're having and based on your magnetic identity, because you are very aspirational for them and very desirable, what offer would you show them that will elicit a burning desire in them? And here you define your offer and your pitch. how to present it. You need your origin story, origin hook. You need the internal and external beliefs of your ideal clients, and then also the hooks to break them, and the map, aka the offer, the proven process that brings them from A to B to transform them into the next stage. And that is usually priceless, and therefore it has a very high perceived value. And with this high perceived value, you can then charge a great price that will still feel like a steal. Good. So the tools that you can use is Irresistible Offer Engine. I have another video on that, so just watch that video. The pricing playbook, I just give you the TLDR on the pricing playbook. A perceived value where the dream outcome is awesome, so is priceless. The likelihood to get there, the success chance as high as possible. Also called the value equation from Alex Hormozy. Okay. And on the denominator, you have how much time is required to get there and how much effort. So if you show them amazing outcome, super likely, almost no effort, and very quick, it's a really high perceived value. And let's say then you quantify that value. But when I say you come up if it's 100K, means you have to validate that with your ideal client. For them, it has to feel like, yeah, I'm easy 100K, likely 200. Maybe 500 in their case, maybe 1 million. But they have to believe that this thing is worth 100 or whatever you come up with, right? In terms of value. But it has to resonate and be confirmed by the client that this is the case. And then you take a 90% discount on that. So if it's 100 grand, you're going to sell it for $10,000. Okay, sell it for 9,997. That makes it a steal. Then add some urgency and scarcity on top. And then you have an irresistible offer with a great price. Okay, value ladder. Let's do this. I touch upon that later when we talk about the profitable funnel. So stay in the video if you want to see that. And another one, which is really good to just convert better right now, there is UAI, which is the tool that we are building and using ourselves right now. Is really cool. Let me show you. So it allows you to grow your revenue with UAI. You can put this on top of your courses, and it helps you to convert and retain your clients better. This is UAI. It can also be in your own app, and it knows all the content of your courses, coaching calls, and whatever context you have provided. Yeah, this is going to be updated soon. This is how it works. You just choose your branding, you train your voice, and then you can use it on top of your content, and it will help you to stop losing students, because courses are essentially that, right? Only 4% of your students complete and succeed, even less than that. You have more and more competition that have carbon copies of your course. Then people, they're overwhelmed and they don't believe that this is the course. That's the number one concern. They don't believe will this really help me? Then you could help them if you would be available, but you're not, and you have your course, right? And in the end, clients are overwhelmed with content and weekly calls. So yeah, the AI coach comes in. You can scale your one-on-one coaching, more time for you, convert, retain better premium pricing. You're different than the competitors. Think what Hormozy did with his book launch recently. He said, hey, all the books, all the sessions, all the workshops, everything that he has ever done is context in this AI coach. Just ask a question and get the answer. Okay. Yeah. So that's what this enables you. You don't have to build it yourself. You can use this one. And with that, you can also scale your client results. They're not overwhelmed by content anymore. You can scale yourself instead of hiring an army of people that are not delivering the service as you would. And they're 24/7, fully tailored, and you hold them accountable. Awesome. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but if this is interesting, just check it out. Awesome. Let's keep on hustling. Once you have that completed, so you have clarity on your ideal customer, your magnetic identity, and your irresistible offer, that means you have a growth engine in place. That's the foundation for everything. That's that strong offer, which is proven in the market because you've spoken to customers. And oh, I forgot about this. So after you have defined your offer and pitch, you're going to test that obviously with the people that you interviewed here or people that are your ideal customers or prospects. And what you do here is the biggest mistake, the biggest red flag that I see people doing is that they sell this like, hey, in this you get this and that, and then that, and that, and that's the price. That's not how you do it. If you ask for money, you get advice. If you ask for advice, you get money twice. So you want to get feedback on this thing that you just came up with by asking for advice, asking them to co-create this offer. Then at some point they will say, actually, I want this. Can you do this for me? And you're like, yeah, I just had other people asking me the same question. I can only do it with 5 people right now. And then you get your first 5 clients with that. You want to get testimonial interviews as quickly as possible because they will help your growth engine to convert so much better. So always do testimonial interviews. Quite often, if you run an existing business, the thing that you are selling here, your offer, which is not your product, by the way, obviously, right? Look, let's say this is a product. This is an Apple Pencil Pro. The offer is whatever this is, $97. And it is, I don't know, charged within minutes or whatnot. So what's the offer that in the end elicits a burning desire? Yeah, how did we get there? I don't recall, but you do these interviews, and with that, you get so much proof that you have now something which you know you can sell. sell. You have made your first dollars because the first customers converted. Now, what is really interesting is that if you're selling a high ticket offer, B2B high ticket, which is more than 10K a month, and you urgently need money because for what reason you just want to get more proof, you have already sold your first one, maybe with a slight discount, maybe it was just below 10K, but you can sell it for 10K a month or more. Then what I suggest, build an outbound sales engine right away to make 100K a month, and you're on the 7-figure run rate. If you have an existing business selling low ticket and you're now going into high ticket, do the same thing, because you will crack 7 figures. That will give you funds to reinvest, and it will prove in the team and everywhere that this is awesome. So you do the same thing as before, double down on who are the ideal clients. I just put this here and again because it is not always obvious. When you have here your 100 ideal clients, you think these are your 100 ideal clients. Then you do true path interviews, you realize, okay, there's actually a subset, and then there's another subset. This type of customer has different problems than this type of customer. And then you double down on certain thing, and then you only pitched to a certain subset your new offer. Okay, so these 100 is very likely different to these 100 once you're here. For that reason, review who are your ideal 100 clients, do the same exercise again. And the important thing here is 10 touch points per day, because what you need is 10 clients, 10 times 10K or more a month, and that's 100K, right? So you don't need a lot of clients. You don't need to do 200 calls like the crazy auto dialer outreach. We have long lead lists and whatnot. Do 10 qualified touch points as personalized as possible through introductions, through providing value. Just go above and beyond and deliver so much value that it hurts. First one was ad from Bar Stars back then. We were selling, I'm trying to get this influencer with millions of followers to work with us to launch a workout program, which made 6 figures. First thing that we sold was amazing. I asked him, why did you decide to go for it and work with us? And he said that he is being approached by dozens of people every single day. Obviously, I was providing value, and more value without trying to do anything. Just like I was just providing unconditional value. So whatever you have or whatever you sell, don't hold anything back. Provide as much value as you can unconditionally. Shoot all of your guns. It's the most important thing. And then in the end, you will get your 10 clients. You of course have to have a really strong outreach script. How do you reach out? What's the hook, the angle that people are listening and not ignoring you? And then you want to discover and qualify them if they're really the right customers. And you are like a doctor prescribing medicine. If someone has, let's say, a cold and needs to go to a conference tomorrow and pitch, you're going to prescribe them something that pushes them up so that they can do their stage talk. If they do not go on stage the next day, if they do not have a cold, you are not prescribing anyone anything, okay? So that also makes you discerning, that makes you confident, because you're not selling everything to anyone, which is what most people do, and this is plain wrong. Again, big red flag, green flag. They have to qualify for your thing. If they do not qualify, if they're not meeting all the things that they need to meet, you tell them, thank you so much. You know someone that could be a fit here. So you ask for a referral. Otherwise, you end the call. You're not selling to this person. That makes you discerning. So that's what goes on in discovery. And then in the sales call, you work with them on the thing that will make them 10x the value. So as we already spoke about this, you identify the thing that will make them 10x the value of what your price is. And once they are 10 of 10 hot, that this is the right thing, 10 of 10 think that you're the right coach, and 10 of 10 think that this is the right timing and they need to do this now, then perfect. Then you drop the offer and then you convert, and it will feel very natural. With that, you hit 100K a month, then you will have 10 clients. Once you have 10 clients, go over to the marketing engines. If you're not selling high ticket, more than 10K a month, and it's not crazy urgent, but you have now your offer defined, you already made your first dollar, you now want to build something scalable and massive, because this year is quite a lot of work for $1 million. We want to make 8 figures, and we want to create enterprise value so that the company is worth 100 million plus. So with that, this year is the focus. It's nice, it's good, but if you have an existing business and $1 million doesn't really move any needle and you want to make it scalable, that's why I would just go straight here. This is only if you sell high ticket and you need the money. Okay, perfect. So here you now only proceed if you have 5 clients. Why 5? Why not 1? Because 1 is not relevant. 25 is too many. 3, I would say there's always something special happening where the 3 are all different. You don't see the patterns yet. Just go with 5. With 5, you will definitely make 4 figures minimum, even if you sell mid-ticket. Even if you sell low ticket, you should hit 4 figures. You sell it anyway, so you just make 4 figures here. And that gives you this feeling of awesome. There's something. Once you know who you are as a brand, the next step is learning how to get the world's attention. Because the truth is, you can have the best product, the best funnel, and even the best team. But if nobody knows who you are, none of it matters. And that's where the marketing engine comes in. Container number 2, the marketing engines. Build the engine that creates now attention for your brand, for your offer. First, most important question that you should ask is your thought leader strategy. And again, we go into questions, actions, and tools. The biggest question here is, what does winning look like? How will you measure it? What are the milestones? And what will you invest? Time, team, money. What actually should also be here is your offer, your unique value, and your audience, your ideal customer. But because we already have that find up here, we're not asking the same question again, but it will be part of your thought leader manifest. This is what you're going to bring to the table. For who? For this audience, right? For these ideal clients. And these are the goals and metrics and milestones that you're going to hit. And these are the channels that you're going to focus on. Awesome. The question is, who is the right brand face for this? What is a brand face? A brand face is the face of your content. Why do you need that? Because people buy from people, especially in the era of social media, which I call, as you might know already, business media. There's 5 billion people out there on business media, and it doesn't matter if you sell B2C, B2B, unless you market to Martians, your customers are on business media. Therefore, which brand face do you pick that your clients trust the most? And figure out who do they trust already the most. You can do this through interviews. You can by now know them as well, that you know what type of profile they would trust most. And then you look in the connections that you have. So who outside of your current team will they trust most? This could be UGC creators, it could be customers, it could be partners. And who in your team will they trust most? And that doesn't have to be you. You know, you don't, as a founder, you don't have to be the dancing bear. It can be someone that is the ideal client's aspirational character that they look up to. Not in all cases, that's you. It can be someone else, because let's say they are British and their English is very great and they communicate in an outstanding manner. That's their strength in marketing and sales. And for some reason, that's appealing to exactly the right customer in the US. Then perfect, go for that. So the actions are identify the right clients, UGC creators, partners, team members, and whatnot. And there are tools like the sourcing playbook and the brand phases playbook. I will do more videos about that. If you're really interested in that, just leave a comment below. Once you have the brand phases worked out, you want to create unique, valuable content. Right now, social media, business media is full of AI slop, meaning people that are using Claude and ChatGPT and many other tools to just spam the world with shit that no one cares about, hoping that people will engage with it and then buy from them. And yes, you can automate a ton, but it's shit in, shit out. If you have not thought about what you will put out there, your unique, valuable content, you will not get any engagement and you will rather be banned by the algorithm. So key questions are, what advice can they apply today? What does it mean? These are actionable insights, tactics, workbooks that they can use to ideal clients to immediately get a return on their time invested of watching your content. And they're like, oh, awesome. This is free. I got so much out of it. Now there's more trust, right? So you do all of that to create trust. What are your contrarian beliefs? Why is that so important? Because in today's age, the person that goes viral, the person that is being looked at, is the person that is contrarian. If you say the same thing that everyone else out there is saying, why would anyone listen to you? They've already heard it. That doesn't mean it's bullshit. It has to be true. What's the thing that everyone believes, but that is BS, and actually the truth is different? And then you want to focus on that. Yeah, so that's your contrarian belief. Who have you transformed? These are your customer, your success stories where you worked with them in the past and you made them successful. Here's an interesting one. Quite often you have worked with people already there where you changed their life and you help them and they're big fans and they like you and they're excited, but your new offer is different to what you sold them. I think you can still interview them. You can still get a testimonial, because what you're now doing is you're rephrasing the messaging of your offer, but you're delivering the same value just in a new message that resonates with more people. But the transformation is likely very similar. So you can use the transformation where we work with this person one-on-one, or it happened to be the transformation which you now want to productize or want to sell as a unique dedicated offer. You can actually say that you transformed this person because you have. Okay. And then which stories make it real? These are your personal stories of your upbringing, war stories, whatever happened in your business that they will stumble upon too, to make this super real and trustworthy. Okay. So key actions, you want to define your content pillars. So actions, transformation, thought leadership, and personal stories. And then the formats. You can learn from the masters, or let's say from what works right now on social. Of course, strong hook, and then a could be a listicle. A content inspiration engine will provide you with the right content pieces so that you see which formats are working in the market and also which content. Then you create a content bank and actually also a B-roll bank or a picture bank. If you will focus on LinkedIn later, you need to have a picture of yourself that is, wouldn't say intimate, but trustworthy and shows your personal side. For YouTube, you want to have a B-roll bank that shows videos of you standing, walking, eating, on vacation, on the plane, talking, interacting, serving clients, whatever. Okay, that's important to later have good material. So what are the tools? Content archetypes, we'll do another video on that. Your content IP and visual ID. I really think it's not just about the words that you say, but also how they look. Yeah, so for example, even here, you see, the text just looks better when it's not long, short, long, or whatnot. And then these colors are meticulously picked. And then this branding and this gradient, you know, it's all connected. The font, everything is considered and intentional. And that ultimately is your, call it personal brand, your company brand. I don't care. In the end, what's the visual ID that stands out from what the others are doing? Think about pattern interrupt in the feed. What is something which just like visually will stand out? Yeah, so it's not just about, hey, let's create a cool brand. The question is what will interrupt and get people's attention? Value assets and CTAs. What are the hooks, the things which your customers, your ideal prospects are craving for? You know these already because you've spoken with them. You know what their problems are. What is the thing that will make them want this? Burning need, burning desire to get. And here an interesting story is many people, founders selling product, offers, features, if it's software, goods, doesn't matter. They complain that, yeah, it's right now not important for them. We're more like priority B. They have other things that are more important. This is what the value asset fixes because the value asset is so urgent. It's such a small element of it that hooks them in to leave everything else aside and just get this value asset right now because it will be game changing for them. But then once they have it, they realize, interesting, that's awesome. But in order to really use it or grow their business, whatever the desired outcome is, they need the whole thing. So the value asset makes your product, your offer a priority. Good. So then CTAs are key, which means call to actions, so that in the end, you're not just pushing content, but you're making them take action. Your bios need to be strong so that it's very clear with a glimpse without having to read a ton what you're about. And then you want to have a brand brief. Why do you need a brand brief? Because you will work with editors, with copywriters, with so many freelancers. You don't always want to explain what you're about. For that reason, with the brand brief, they see exactly your visual ID, your content IP. They get access to your content bank, B-roll bank, to your archetypes, to your brand faces, to everything. That will help you to leverage yourself once you're pushing quantities. All right, next you want to build your content muscle. Biggest question is, and this is so interesting because everyone I work with, they always have excuses why they're not posting. And they think it's so easy, you just have to post something, but they're ultimately not posting. The question is, what's holding you back from posting? Yeah, I don't have an offer yet. Oh yeah, I don't know which channel. There's always a reason. In the end, it's working on your belief patterns to figure out what is really holding you back. Is it the shame that you're not getting a lot of likes and people look at you and think that, she's not successful and your self-image is being destroyed? Yeah, these are all very valid reasons and you have to work on them in order to post. Once you're starting to post, what will make you post regularly? Because you have to build a content muscle. You have to build a habit out of this. And you will realize when you push content, in the beginning, it's painful, it's horrible, it's something that comes on top. First reel I did took me 3 hours to just film it and it still was shit. And today I just feel it's like brushing my teeth. It's natural. I just jump on the thing, I just start talking and I know exactly what I can talk about that is of value. This is because I created a content muscle where I constantly have something to talk about. I get also ideas through my team meetings. I get ideas through my coaching calls. I get ideas through reading books, through watching YouTube and whatever I see out there. The point is you do the same, but you don't have the muscle yet, so you don't know how to translate it into your unique content that is of value to others. And then the question, once you have that, you're posting regularly, what can you improve week on week? If you're not improving every week, for example, your audio, then your hooks, then your visual hook, then your CTAs, then your copywriting, then your images and whatnot, you're not going to become successful. And then you also need to, of course, ask yourself, what did you learn? Okay, once you got that, here are the key actions. This thing that everyone, also the social media coaches all say, just do 100 posts. I think Mr. Beast came up with that, who's the biggest YouTuber of all time. And the reason is, it doesn't matter what you actually post. Thing is, do 100 posts, track that. So every single day you do a post, track that, and it will build out that muscle. It's less about what you post, it's more about that you post. And then you can set channel milestone. What is that? For example, I worked on the first reel 3 hours and it still was shit. Today I can do a reel in minutes in the car while my planet's somewhere and then it's going to be published. Takes me minutes. So a milestone could be either you have a certain amount of engagement, which is fine and cool, but sometimes takes some time. Or you combine it and say, or when you're able to hit the threshold of what you should post on that particular channel. If you, for example, post 7 times a day on LinkedIn, that's too much. You're diluting your effort and it's not going to be helpful to grow. So once you are in perfection on the quantity on LinkedIn and the algo hasn't catched up with you yet, you can actually then repurpose that and, for example, go from LinkedIn to either short form content on Instagram or long form content, YouTube long form content, or you go into blog articles. Depends. Yeah. So we look at your funnel soon, but that's a question. That's a milestone that you can set once you're there. What are the tools you would use? Content idea prompt engine. There's a video and prompt that you can use. Just grab it, look on my channel. Then there are playbooks on how to do short form, long form videos and text. I will do a video about them. I don't have that yet. And then how to really crack LinkedIn, which is so different from the other channels. Text-based. It's cringy because you celebrate, hey, we just launched this. Congratulations, right? But that's where business owners are. They're, by the way, also on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube because they also are normal people like us. Yeah, and then there's, of course, Instagram and YouTube. What works there? There's different engines for that. And then writing. You have to become a good writer. I always underestimated how important it is to be able to communicate well. How will you create a strong offer? How will anyone buy your offer if you are not able to communicate your offer? Even there it starts. So your content, your marketing, your sales, you're a product tech guy and you're good on that. So you just focus on the features. I get it, but these features are supposed to be used by someone and they have to be on an AI with text on it in a format that makes sense. If you cannot communicate that well, your product will suck, which is another red flag, green flag. Red flag, oh yeah, you're so deep in the product that your product is so good that in the end people will just come by themselves. BS, red flag. Green flag, marketing and sales is part of the product, maybe is even the core part of the product, maybe even is the product, because if I can communicate well what I'm selling and I can market that so that people get why they should use it and then they also get it, yeah, and they use it, oh, perfect. That actually works. And that's what people then talk about and what grows. So delivery, attention, distribution, marketing, sales in today's age, guess not obvious and clear, is more important than the product. Boom, contrarian take. And then, of course, ads. Ads are just such a back burner, a rocket, if you know how to use them. More about that soon. Next big thing. Your strategy in place, you know who delivers that, you have your unique content built out, and you are posting. Let's fast track the whole thing. Let's scale it up with content engines. Question that you ask yourself, what can I learn from the masters? Who are the masters? People that are super successful, either in your niche or adjacent, so that the content is still relevant, or you can repurpose things from over there in your business. To give you an example, how Apple creates a culture and identity and the branding helps you to repurpose that to get also really cool branding. So you can make your branding so exciting for your software that it feels a bit like, okay, inspired by Apple, right? So what can you learn from the masters? How can you smoothen the process of content creation? Because this year is going to be painful. This is going to take some time. But the masters, they're shipping, take to Modis again, 1,036 content pieces a month with just 2 days of work where you just show up, they film the content and leave again because everything is prepared by their team. This, of course, wasn't like that from day one, but you can get there if you smoothen the process. And also, how do you create your feed? That's really important. Think like watching out what you eat. You can eat pommes or you can eat French fries all day and chocolate, which is what the algorithm will do in order to get you hooked. Or you can actually be cautious about it and intentional and say, all right, I will watch these people because I can learn from them. Blah, blah, blah. What you can also do is you create a second account, and that account you create everything, because on your primary account, maybe you have friends and family and other people that you want to follow, and that's not helpful. So create that second account, and there you just want to create, because the algorithm will just give you then the content that is the perfect material, raw material for you to repurpose. The best creators are the best curators, okay? You're not like, it says unique, valuable content. I get it, but it doesn't mean you have to come out of the woodworks after thinking 5 years deep in a cave about this one new thing that no one else has ever talked about, how it's going to work. To give you an example, right? Hormozy just did a $100 million launch for a book that if you look at the book, this book looks in terms of the sketches used, in terms of the content, like Russell Brunson's .com Secrets that was launched 10 years ago. Is Hormozy now a fake and is Russell the master? No, because Russell got the stuff from Dan Kennedy. It's like, is Dan Kennedy then the master? No, Dan Kennedy got it from David Ogilvy and from Gary Halbert and so on and so forth, right? Just create the content, repurpose it, and say it in a word, and say it in a way that is truthful for you. That is your authentic you. Okay, therefore creating your feed is important because great content inspiration. You get the top performing content from the masters, and then you ship quality content at scale in the stage of the content engines. And here the content engine engines. The content inspiration engine gives you actually the content from the masters, including all the KPIs on what was their best performing content over the last 12 months or longer. And you can then look at that, repurpose that. You then put that into a production engine where you go from idea stage all the way to posting and analyzing the content that you push to then find the winners. You can then also, once you hit quota or the recommended threshold of content, as we talked about earlier with LinkedIn, doesn't make sense to post more than one time a day. You can repurpose that for long form, short form, video or text. And you do that with the content repurposing engine. And then with the promotion engine, you strengthen your bottom of funnel, your middle of funnel to, in the end, shorten your sales cycle and to increase your sales close rate. Okay. So once you have that, you have an attention engine in place where you can actually get attention with pretty low customer acquisition cost. The scale is not going to be crazy, but you get attention and you have conversations. And if you keep on doing that, that's the organic game. It will take a couple of years and you will make a ton of money. You will also hit 8 figures without a lot of cost. The question that you should ask yourself here in order to graduate from that container is, does content creation feel natural for you? You just switch it on, it's going, it's fun, like brushing your teeth. Do you have an infinite strong list of content ideas where the question is not, oh, what should I talk about, but rather, okay, what are the most highest competing pieces of content that will be of most value for your ideal prospects and clients? It's almost a competition of, okay, what should you record and film first? And lastly, you are able to ship quality content, not AI slop, at scale with little effort. Okay, so that is the marketing engine. And you now have the engines in place that create attention. Attention alone means nothing if you can turn it into revenue. I will show you how to build your scaling engine, the system that turns attention into predictable revenue. We already talked about how to get the world's attention on your offer and how to create unstoppable demand. But once you have that attention, the real question is, how do you turn it into profit without burning money or hiring a massive team? Because the truth is, attention alone doesn't pay the bills. Last year, we spent 4 million on ads and we got a return on ad spend or ROAS of 1.2, and that led to 5 million in revenue, which is $1 million profit on the first sale. That's 0 payback period, which is completely uncommon in software, but then the recurring kicks in. And with that, the lifetime revenue is $10 million with a lifetime profit of $6 million. So how do you turn attention into cash flow and scale profitably with AI? Let's dive in. Awesome. So first one, profitable funnel. What's the main thing that you sell? It's likely the thing that you came up with in Container 1. It might also change because you realize something in this whole process to make the offer even stronger or different, right? But just reiterate here, the main thing that you sell is very likely the thing from Container 1. The next question is, how do you convert clients? That's actually a funnel question. And what are the hooks and angles to attract them? We spoke about this a little bit earlier already in the content, but here we take it one level further. So you determine your core funnel and then you build your value ladder out. You have all the tools. Funnel map, talk about that in a second. The core funnels out there, they're proven funnels that you shouldn't reinvent. You just take the one that fits you to your offer and then you go with that. Funnel strategy engine is another tool. This helps you to figure out what is your funnel that you should use for your particular case. And then a sales page and BSL playbook. But let's go over to the funnel map and double click on a funnel so that you really know what the funnel actually is and means. Okay, so here's the funnel map. You have price and value. The more value you provide, the higher the price. Here you give away great value, but it's free. And then you give away even more value and it costs some money. That's a low ticket or funnel. It starts from $9, sometimes even lower than that, but come on, $9, and it goes up to $1,000. You would not do sales calls here because the price point is just too low. So you would just have a sales page with VSL. Mid-ticket funnel is somewhere between 1 to 5K. You do that through either pre-recorded or live webinars. And then north of 5K, what you usually have are sales calls. The world is now remote, so you do that all through Zoom, for example, or whatever tool you're using. If you do an event, you can also do a table rush. That's when everyone runs back to sign up for this 10, 20K, 30K thing. So how do you get people into these funnels? First of all, you have your organic hooks. These are your posts, your content. They make people engage. For example, right? LinkedIn, comment with map to get my thing, how I show you how to do XYZ. You have likely seen that, commented, connected before. Because you connected, they got the lead, then they give you value for that lead, right? It's a lead funnel. Classical tools in order to get leads are a quiz, personality test, figure out what type of whatever are you. Any type of quiz in fitness, you want to lose weight, gain weight, where you want, what's your desired weight, where are you, male, female, how much time do you have, and so on. It's a lead funnel. Okay, so you got quiz, you get this amazing newsletter for leaving your email address. The free community is pretty new, but it's cool. Meaning you bring people together and you see that actually something is happening in the community. People are engaging there, and from there you build up trust to then sell more. More about that in a second. Comment for value, already talked about it. An online event or webinar. Yeah, you can do an online event or a webinar just to get leads. It's uncommon. You will see in a second that most events and webinars are working differently, but it happens that there are just events to collect leads. These are often promoted by your organic posts. Paid is used when you need to have an ROI on it. Quite often mid-ticket, high-ticket. To get low-ticket to perform is not easy, but possible, especially if you have more offers in the backend, it's called. So after the low-ticket, you sell mid-ticket, high-ticket. More about that in a second. And you drive traffic to, let's say, a course. Give you an example, just that you see it. YouTube Academy, right? Classical example. YouTube Academy, long sales page, lots of testimonials, it's all great, you can grow, you can become successful, and let me guess, it's $1,000 or something like that. Less than 1,000 for sure. 995 or 3 months of 300. Yeah, so somewhere between. Sales page, we just have seen that, and the VSL, is there a video? There's likely a video which is 10 to 30 minutes long. How long is it? 15 minutes. Yep, that's it. How do people get there? Value asset from Ali, has watched all the content, newsletter. Hey, why don't you become... We have this thing, YouTube Part-Time Academy. It's just $1,000. Enough trust built, then people buy. Yeah, so you can build enough trust for $1,000, or that people invest $1,000. So course community makes sense. An event or workshop, of course. Hey, there's an event, you want to show up. Events just always cost something. That's what we have ingrained and learned, right? And then a sprint or challenge, 4 sessions, live in person or remotely, where you go from A to B. And of course, also e-com. If you sell anything e-com, usually it's $20, a phone case, right? $50, $100, $200, $300. Some device and whatnot is usually there. Okay, that's low ticket. Then mid ticket, classic is webinar, live, and evergreen, 1 to 5K. That's also what we do actually. If you go to Passion.io, and this is interesting because this funnel makes more than 50% of our revenue and 3 times our average order value compared to the normal pricing. Yeah? So here's the normal pricing, 100, 200, 600. But here behind the webinar, see my simple coaching app that generates $19,540 per month. Claim your seat, that goes into a webinar. And in the end there we sell a 4-figure product. That's a classic mid-ticket. And it makes more than 50% of our revenue. So that means if you have a software company and you do not have a webinar funnel yet, you can double your revenue profitably. Would be stupid not to do that, right? And you can run ads against it. You immediately break even. If we invest $1 in marketing, we get more than $1 back. And then even there's the continuity, the subscription coming later. And with that, we make then serious profit. And then the big thing, which everyone is doing right now, and it's always good to maximize profit, is the high ticket funnel. Here you can run ads, direct to call, or to quiz to call, or stage to call. If it's stage to call, obviously it doesn't have to be an ad. You are on stage, you talk about something, and then people scan a QR code, for example, and then in the end you are on a call and you show them how you can help them. Let me not call it stage, I call it event to call. The classic thing is you do a webinar, but instead of then showing them a sales page that is auto-recorded, it's actually a live event, and then people in the end jump on a sales call. Then you have stage selling. This is literal in-person selling where you are on stage and people will run to the back and they buy your thing. It's called a table rush. And then social selling, where you look for signal on social channels, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, whatnot. And you engage with your people until you go into a sales conversation and then you jump on a call. So that's the high ticket funnel. Awesome. If you are an e-com, take your shop, pick your best-selling item and create a dedicated sales page and VSL for it. Triple the price, minimum double the price, and create an emotional story around your product and make it a system. If you have a software that sells somewhere also down here, this is a low ticket thing, $20 per seat, $100 per month or whatnot, add a webinar funnel. You can double your revenue profitably. And then you likely have a sales team already to sell high ticket. This thing can sit so nicely in the middle. So this is about funnels, more about that soon. Ad engine, big question. How will I get the best return on ad spend? How will I get and find the best cohorts? Because especially if you build software, but also for e-com, you You want to have repeat business. In software, of course, it's a subscription. It's auto-recurring. In e-com, they can buy one thing after the other. And how do ads complement your posts? Because while posts are there to create connection and trust, the ads are there to convert, okay? You don't want to do crazy conversion tactics in your organic content. That's what you do in your ads. Key things that you set up here is you run quality ads at scale. You can do that now because you have an offer, you have push content, you know what your customers are after, you have a funnel in place. You should have by now a messaging that works in the market, and now you can amplify it with ads. You need to track well, otherwise you're fucked. By the way, as we all know, if you don't, here's the newsflash. Facebook tracking is not working. It's always exaggerating what the actual results are. So you need different tracking tools. Facebook tracking, you cannot rely on it. You cannot trust it. We all know that. And you need to set up proper tracking. So ad engine, tracking engine are key here. Then 80% sales close rate. Who can you upsell to and how can you pre-sell better? Because with strong marketing, it's always becoming sales where you share all this content. You, of course, you derive that from your offer. And so everything that you do is you talk about essentially about your offer, but in a way that is valuable to your customers. And with that, you are pre-selling it. In the end, they're like, okay, I need this. This makes total sense. So the best people I know in my network, they have a sales close rate of 80%, where people just come up in the call with their credit card in hand, just say, hey, I want to do it. When can we get started? That is so different from how a sales-led organization works, where you have a way lower close rate. So by becoming marketing-led or by putting a marketing growth engine on top of your sales-led motion or also your product-led motion, you can actually get your sales close rate up to 80%. Key actions that you want to focus on: qualify your lower tier buyers. These are these people here, so that you know who actually has the funds and is the perfect customer because they have an urgent need to buy your high-ticket thing. And then you want to build a pre-sale funnel. This, you can argue, is this here as well, but there's even a pre-sale funnel before your high ticket. So for example, effective show-up rates for your sales call, post-discovery call, how can you further nurture and pre-sell so that the sales call is then converting at a much higher rate? There's so much that you can do in order to pre-sell better and get a better close rate. So two things: inbound lead gen engine, which leads are here the right ones to upsell to, and then pitch and closing engine, that your high ticket sales calls are just converting at an absurd rate. So once you have that in place, container number 3, the scaling engines, turn attention into revenue. You have now a scaling engine that generates 8 figures revenue profitably, or at least is creating 7 figures profitably and has a very clear path to 8 figures. You have profitable return on ad spend, and you have an LTV, estimated lifetime value to customer acquisition cost, of north of 3. If it's e-com, of course, do your 4. If it's hardcore B2B enterprise, then it's more than 10. Doesn't matter. Maybe it's 20, 50, 100. I don't care. It's higher than 3, okay? When your growth explodes, you need an engine that can run without you. And that's where we're going next. Performance and operations. Because the truth is, most founders don't fail because of growth. They fail because their team, their systems, and their operations can't keep up with it. So how do you build a team and operating system that performs at the highest level, even when you're not there? Let's dive in. Who do you need? What is in it for them? This is still about how can you amplify the career of them by giving them the playground and the learnings to attract the best people. A players attract A players. You all know that. But that also means if you want to attract A players, you have to be an A player. Or your company has to be an A company. Something has to be A plus in order to attract someone. If your company is not growing, if your company doesn't have a vision, if your company is not cool, if you are not an A plus player and they're like, holy shit, this guy's the next Elon Musk, this guy's the next Bezos, I need to work for this person, you're going to be fucked. You will not get the best people. It's easy as that. Once you have them, how do you upskill them? How do you upskill the people to help them to level up, to help them deliver stronger results, and that will deliver better results for the company? And how do you actually work with the best? How do you attract them? Yeah, so here you know who that is. Here you pitch them what's in for them. Here's your existing team, and here's how to find the best. So actions: grow or go. Yes, you want to hold on to this person that is with you for 8 years. I get it, but your company needs to change. Maybe it has grown. This person has been of great value in the past, not anymore. It doesn't help this person nor you to keep and hold on to this person. So it's grow or go, like in any world-class team. You want to build an outstanding culture because that will create a performance culture that can become world-class. This is not a family. This is a performance culture. And you set the communication and the communication cadence and rituals, because in person, but also remote, if you don't have this team building or team effect where it feels like, okay, let's do this, which comes through comms, you're also not going to succeed. The tools are recruiting funnel. I can talk about that in another video. Leave a comment below. Performance framework, career and compensation framework. I think I have a couple of videos on career and compensation framework. Just watch these, otherwise ask me for more. Good, so once you have your teaming in place, it's about tooling. What workflows can you automate? Automate should always be above hiring. If you have anyone in your company, listen, red flag, okay, red flag, listen, it's important. If you have anyone in your company that says, oh, we have so limited resources, if you want to do this, we have to hire this person and that person. That's the wrong person that you have there. Because, hello, we're in the age of AI. It's the age of AI. You can automate a ton. You need to do things differently. So if the person is not thinking predominantly, okay, actually, how can we change the processes? What can we automate? Who then we maybe still need in order to orchestrate and steer this new system? Yeah, okay, that's okay. But we're not defaulting to hiring. That's the wrong person that you have there. You need to press the big red button. Your company will not survive. On the upskilling side, help them that they can embrace this AI thing. Everyone can get minimum 20-30% more productive. Some people even double as productive if they know how to use the right tools. Okay? And then you see automation tool stack. I have a ton of tools shared on my socials, which tools to use, how to operate remotely, because the best people are globally. If you are, like Silicon Valley, okay, perfect. You're in Palo Alto, but people are still moved to Austin. Then yeah, okay, you have good people in Austin, but maybe you have really strong ones in Florida as well, or in South America, in Eastern Europe, in Asia, and Scandinavia for design. Just there's no more borders. People are everywhere, and you want to hire the best. You want to have a true remote culture. I have another video on that actually, on how to build $100 million remote business. Just watch that. Okay, and then finally, tracking. Which KPIs are core in your business? Either you don't report anything, or you report the wrong things, or you report way too many things. Okay, maybe you run EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System. Maybe you run OKRs with your objectives, key results cascaded all the way down. It's too much. You have to focus what's the core. And then ultimately, your company is an asset that you want to build out to ultimately sell it or make it a sellable asset. What will get you great multiples on your asset? Actions. Profit first. In the current time, you need to make profit. You also need to grow. So rule of 40. I have tons of videos on what the rule of 40 is. Check these out. And then you want to accelerate your enterprise value. 95% of businesses are not sellable because they're dependent on you. And if you ever want to sell that and dream about it because your company is holding you hostage because of all the shit that happened in the last 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 years, then you have to see it as an asset and accelerate the value. Tools that you use, Enterprise Value Acceleration Scorecard. We have a video on that. Check it out. Core KPI Dashboard. Video is coming. How to analyze your P&L and how to optimize it. Let me know if you want a video there. And then FP&A, Financial Planning and Analysis. How do you project? How do you plan your business going forward? Because let's take this funnel. You cannot build all of that at the same time. You have one thing that you start and then later you add something. You can, let's say, high ticket to mid ticket to low ticket, or you have low ticket, you want to add high ticket, or you're somewhere here, have not done any organic stuff, you want to add the organic stuff. That needs to be mapped out in good planning, and that happens in FP&A modeling. So, if your marketing and sales now runs profitably, the business grows without you because you have the team, the tools, and the tracking in place, and you actually work on the company, not in the company. You can do the vacation test, meaning that you go 4 weeks on vacation and there's no one calling you. And when you come back, the whole company still exists. Congratulations, you have an operations performance engine in place and you made it and you have 8-figure revenue profitably and you're are or will soon be at $100 million in enterprise value. That's it. I could talk for days about it. Let me know what you want to hear about next. And you can always reach out. Just go to marketingnet.com, which is the page to work with me, or go to passion.io, which is the tools that I'm using to build up the AI coach, the right funnels, and the right delivery then of your education and community piece, because quite often the offer that you build teaches people on how to use your software, your e-com product, and whatnot. Or if you have an info business, then you need it anyways. So that is, I think, just the tool in the era of social media, business media, and AI, and the phone age to have the biggest impact. So that's how we grew to more than $10 million profitably with AI-powered marketing engines. If you want to install these same systems in your business and scale profitably without a huge team, I'm opening a few spots to work with founders like you one-on-one. The link is in the description. See you there.